Okay, so first of all, sorry for the wait. Second of all, sorry for you having to see my face instead of our head of product, Yaro, which I think he is much more knowledgeable than me on certain questions. I am pretty informed with most, and I'm very much involved in all that we're doing with the team. It's just that, you know, Yaro is the head of product. So he hurt his eye today. He went to see the doctor, and well, it's going to be 2 weeks roughly. He's going to be fine. He just informed me that he's able to see, but yeah, it will take a couple of weeks for him to recover. So I am covering for Yaro for now. Yes, make excuses first. Somebody just commented. Alrighty. So I will. The process is this. I will go through the questions posted on Reddit and take them one by one, hoping to give the best picture possible of what's happening, what's to come, and answering your questions. If anything is still unanswered, I'll try to go through the chat. Yeah, answering them one by one. Okie dokie. So let me go. Somebody's asking if AMA is not working. It is working. Let me start with after you make a product, will you be added to the exchange? And what if they don't want to add you for free? Well, to be honest, we are starting our journey to the exchanges. We have been not actively engaged with the exchanges for quite a while. As you may know, MIST token is not yet used in the product, but with the mainnet release, it's going to be. Thus, of course, we need to have an exchange as a partner. We're looking for a main exchange partner, so we are starting some talks with a few. We'll see which ones turn out to be fruitful. We are currently listed in HIT BTC. And we're in talks with them as well to give us more favorable conditions. For example, lowering withdrawal fee. Not finished, but they're pretty willing to talk. So in conclusion, yes, we're talking with exchanges. We're looking to figure out their conditions, and we'll see from there. But yes, we realize that we need a functional exchange. Okay, the next question is, sorry about that. What are you guys planning to do marketing-wise? I am pretty sure Sharmini would be the best person to answer this one. So how are we planning to raise awareness about Mysterium? Well, first, we do have 2 programs for this. We have referral and influencer programs. We're allocating a certain amount of MIST towards these programs. So basically, we will work with people who are willing to refer users into the network to use mainnet, and we'll of course work with influencers on spreading the news. These are basically 2 major allies. Smaller ones, of course, will be used as well. So yeah, if you have your favorite influencer, go ahead and let us know. interest, if you want to, we'll be more than happy to talk to them. Also, we're in talks with some major VPN providers forming I2 coalition as a VPN trust. Big names are there: Nord, Express, Surfshark. We're amongst the group. This will give a little bit of trust and visibility as well. So the recurring question about Windows, when will it be ready? And will it have some new features like auto reconnect, kill switch? Well, first of all, we're working on a technology called Electron for creating an OS X app. This will allow us to basically port into the Windows as well, but mostly and first of all, we're looking to have a stable Mac version. Once that has ironed out major critical issues, we'll work towards porting it to Windows, and it should be in theory and in our early tests completely portable with some minor tweaks. So right after OS X is released and published and tested out and ironed out a bit, the next focus is on Windows. Yep, and of course we will continue to improve those apps as we get closer and closer to mainnet. But of course, the main goal is to have payments integrated and completely integral part of the application. Oh, now we have a big question, big post type of question, which consists of many questions. It's talking about corporation core partners, about nodes and whitelisting versus non-whitelisting nodes, who receives the traffic, and so on. So let me try to distill this one by one and tackle the actual questions. Before starting to answer this larger post, I would like to kind of level the ground here. We're building an open and permissionless network, and the role of Mysterium team is to facilitate that process, to build the core technology. We're in the very early sort of a research and starting, like not starting, but started a long time ago, but still researchy type of field, combining different aspects which have not been combined before in a VPN, or have been in certain cases. Every DVPN case is slightly different, with various deviations. So there is no one correct proven pathway to make such a network, and it's an enormous task to build this technology that's enabling the creation of such a decentralized network. So our role is to build this technology, to build these processes, these subsystems that talk together, work together, in order to enable this network. So okay, let me come back to the questions, and I think there will be certain questions which will lead me towards what I just wanted to say. So question number one, can you confirm or deny that you run any sort of nodes yourselves? If developers would need to run a node for their testing purposes, I would probably not even know. We have an autonomy within our teams. If they need something that is not requiring my permission or their superior's permission, they just do it themselves. In this fashion, I am pretty sure we have run more than one node over the course of development of Mysterium Network node and payments and discovery services and quality oracles and so on to test out. We cannot test out this technology first by testing it on ourselves, then broadening the scope of testing and so on. So I am pretty sure, many nodes have been run over the course of this time. Are we running any as a business? I will just repeat myself, not as a business to make money, but as a business using this as a tool for testing features and testing new developments. More like a foundation, not a business, I would say. And what has been done with the whitelisting? It was run through the internal project called Superproxy. The goal of that project was to facilitate a link into the network for external companies who are not willing to deal with many technical issues, which are difficult to deal with and time-consuming as well, such as crypto payments, such as managing fleets of nodes, like testing their quality, adding and removing new nodes from this list. They just want out-of-the-box solution. And with Superproxy, it was our test to see if there is a market for something like that, like for an intermediary type of solution, which is operating on top of the network, to provide this easier access into the network for external companies, for example, other VPN companies, who could use this network for streaming services, for location shifting purposes, and so on. So yes, this test was successful. I think we have confirmed pretty well that this type of service is needed. There are companies willing to pay for the access and for the easier made access. But eventually, we as Mysterium team decided not to focus on that angle because that would mean very heavy narrowing down of what Mysterium is, because it requires lots of development on the software as a service type of service side to make the needed tools, dashboards, automations. Because up till now, we had three customer companies using this experimental service, but it was on our side, it was hand managed all the time. We had to pick the nodes, we had to test them, we had to manage that some of the nodes, when they become non-accessible, we had to replace them in these lists, especially tailored for these companies. Each company had its own list of nodes that we needed to manage on our side. All of this can be done by automated processes, but again, it requires a lot more development. And we decided that it's way too narrow for us as a Mysterium Network team to focus on this. Once deployed, anybody, since the nature of the network is open and permissionless, anybody can build a service like that. on top of the network and utilize the network and make external companies access the network a lot easier. It's just that it's going to require quite some development until it's a polished and easy to use service. So yeah, I think I've expanded a bit. So node runners, you earn 50, then 25 per month, and some are down to 3, 4. Again, this was another project on our side. We needed to test various assumptions. We had assumptions that if given enough payment, there will be people willing to run a node from their given IP location, be it a data center, home, or I don't know, whatever else. Given that they understand the risks involved. And I think the whole test as a test proven to be successful. There were quite a bit of too many nodes that we could have utilized at the moment when we announced the program. And after that, we have started to move towards the actual usage, pay-per usage model. In the beginning, it was just get money just for being there on the network. This proven to be working. Then we progressed to fine-tune the whole program, pay to provide actual traffic through the network. And well, this seems to be working. Some nodes are earning more, some nodes are earning less. Eventually, once we transition into the mainnet, it's just going to be paid by the users. Each node who's receiving payment, all of this payment came from the users of the network. So basically, we're going closer towards these conditions. Question number 2, what are you looking at doing to retain node runners when they aren't even meeting monthly withdrawal? Well, one thing is tokens accrued will get transferred next month. So basically that's for the current bounty program, but once in the mainnet, it's anything you accrue, you can withdraw given the minimum parameters. But I want to emphasize that better node quality means more traffic and higher, bigger payouts. This eventually will translate into who provides a better quality, better service in a more desired locations. Most likely will earn more. Normal market conditions applied. Question number 3, node runners are told that in order to get traffic, they need to turn whitelisted traffic off. Again, I want to emphasize that whitelisted traffic was redirecting. Those who turned on whitelisted traffic were serving only the company, the traffic that was coming from the Superproxy 3 customers. I want to be really honest about this. We do not yet have a better protective mechanism for node runners. So basically, your jurisdiction guidelines are in effect, and you must follow them to protect yourself. Tor definitely has various guidelines how to protect the node runners, how to protect themselves while running a node in various different jurisdictions. We will gravitate towards something like that as well. But of course, whitelisted traffic is itself a feature that can provide additional layer of protection. Unfortunately, it's not like bulletproof. It can be overcome. It is sometimes browsers are enforcing new rules of DNS resolve mainnet, which is more and more encrypted. It's still working, so whitelisting is still working, but to a certain extent. So we are in discussions on what path to follow for protecting the node providers, providing additional protection on the technical level. Any ideas, guys? Welcome. But for now, it's test pilot. When airline industry was in development, all of the pilots were test pilots because they were dealing with highly dangerous machines. I think Mysterium is in sort of a similar situation still. So node protection tools is the future. We definitely want to create them. It is not yet completely clear what is the best path towards that. So this will most likely be our focus after mainnet launch. But before that, unfortunately, we cannot focus on this. Question number 4. So selected nodes through corporate partners sending 100 gigabytes per day. What apps are they using? Well, I think I've already explained this. It's not apps. They have been using Superproxy, which was sort of a software as a service type of service. It was much more complicated than that, but we had to install certain things in their servers. These are mostly other VPN companies needing to access Mysterium Network nodes. But our focus right now as a team is to launch mainnet, not focus on improving Superproxy. So yeah, that's that. We have been choosing those nodes as I have explained a bit earlier in a manual process, but through testing, of course, of their capabilities. Exchange question: are you planning to relist on Bittrex? We'd love to. They have a very strict requirements. They're not taking payments for, well, at least to my knowledge, for listing. Instead, they do their own due diligence of each project. They're one of the exchange that we're contacting. We'll see what turns out of this discussion. Let us know if you can help. Okay, so how are we going to protect network from nodes which generate lots of traffic from their own devices to get higher income? Yes, we do understand that there is such a risk in this temporary phase where we pay out bounties, but we are able to monitor traffic patterns and fish out most of the use cases. These are not that abundant at this stage. And once we transition into the mainnet, this sort of behavior would cease to exist because it just doesn't make sense, because you would have to pay traffic fees network fees to connect from node from your device to your own node, and this would, you would simply pay yourself, but paying network fees on top of that, like Ethereum fees and so on, gas fees. So yeah, again, we're laser focused towards transitioning into the mainnet, not improving on our existing bounty programs. We think it's, as it is, it's fairly sufficient for now until we transition. I hope that answers. ICO backers, any benefits for ICO backers and acknowledgements? How to best answer this one? I think it's a key moment for Mysterium to finally transition into the mainnet. I would love to thank each and every one token sale participant for providing this opportunity. We are committed. We have been committed throughout these years, and then continue to be committed to our initial vision of building a decentralized VPN network, creating, and we gained a lot of understanding through this process of making this technology. We also want this network to be open, permissionless, so that anybody can join, anybody can leave. Pay as you use is the principle, the major principle. Also, on top of that, any developer who needs such a technology, for example, unblocking, geo unblocking of certain communication within your internal systems, within your applications that you're building, you could use Mysterium as one of the under the hood technologies to enable such features within your products. So yeah, I think this is a pivotal moment for Mysterium that we are getting ready for. We would like to work with you if you have any means and will to help progress this network growth. We understand that with the mainnet release, it's sort of an initial step towards the real usage of the network. So yeah, we're, as I mentioned, we do have referral and influencer programs. Please join if you're willing, and any of you who wants a mug, we can send you one. I heard they are pretty light. What are you doing to ensure fair distribution of traffic across all nodes? Okay, this is definitely a technological type of question. I'm pretty sure Yaro would be the best person to answer this one. All I can say is our role is to improve the tooling that's working with the network. So for example, a better quality discovery and better quality oracles is one of the ways that is envisioned to help progress this area. So basically sort out the best nodes which are available, not overutilized, nodes which actually provide what they advertised. Test those nodes, to have automated processes testing those nodes, to feed this type of information into the discovery process and sorting process. these are the types of tools that we are able to create. It requires certain level of energy and effort. But yeah, I think we can improve that aspect through means like this. Will there be a limit of number of nodes connected to connected relative to expected bandwidth? I don't know if I understand this question. Will there be a limit for the number of nodes connected relative to the expected bandwidth? Okay. I do not think that Mysterium has a role of gatekeeper. As I've mentioned multiple times here, we're building an open and permissionless network. So basically, any number of nodes can connect, provide their services. We will, however, build tools to help users of the network to sort out the nodes that meet their specific requirements. For example, those who are able to provide streaming, those who are not able, those who are able to provide other connecting services versus the other ones. Most likely, this should be the limiting factor, not us acting as a gatekeeper. Okay, so these are the questions from Reddit. Let me now get to the questions on this chat. Stan is asking, Mist has 0 volume. Why would an exchange add you? Well, Mist is a utility token to be used in the network to buy and sell network services. And we have not been actively engaged with the exchanges for this reason that the network did not accept Mist as a token. Now with the transition to mainnet, it's this aspect is changing. Yes, I understand that not many exchanges would probably opt out of working with us at this stage, and that's understandable. But some will. Some has shown interest. Once live and once some actual volume is on those exchanges, I think it will open doors to additional exchanges adding the token. But the important thing, it's finally going to be used within the product. Okay, so Amorphous asks, hey there, if I run Mysterium node and that is being used in dark web, how to avoid these types of instances? It's pretty difficult to avoid for now. As I mentioned, whitelisting, blacklisting, whitelisting is one of the pathways we could take this network to, so that traffic slicing is another, so that we could have a combination of nodes. Let's say there's a 10% of nodes that allow any type of traffic, and 90% of nodes that are whitelisting only certain destinations, or blacklisting certain and allowing everything else. This way, we would need to combine these two technologies so that the user of the network connects first to the node, which is whitelisting, I don't know, 3,000 destinations, and that is mostly enough for that user. But when that same user wants to go deeper, for example, Tor or dark web, this traffic would automatically be retransferred towards the node which is allowing that sort of a traffic. That's a possible development angle. It's pretty difficult to execute, but we have tested out the core technology while building a solution for Superproxy. So basically, we have a technology that's working. We have tested it in actual real life scenarios with those three companies, as I mentioned. Building it directly into the node for every node in the network to be sort of as a super proxy, as an intermediary node, and as an exit node requires much more sophisticated development, but it is possible, but not at the moment. So if you please check your jurisdiction limits. If you feel that you are overstepping these limits, do not run the node, or find ways to protect your person by doing so. If you decide to still run the node. Yep, so for now, our focus is to build the incentivization into the network, which is basically a mainnet. Okay, Thomas asks, is it possible to log the outgoing traffic on the Raspberry node? That's where Yaro's help would be much more beneficial than mine today. We will I would need to check with them. I am pretty sure it is possible. I do not know on the limitations on the Raspberry itself. For example, memory limitations, will it not crash the node? Like in general, I am pretty sure it's possible. In reality, is it feasible? It's a question to be asked. We can do a follow-up AMA session with Yaro. When he has recovered, I'm pretty sure he'll have an answer for this. On the feasibility side, on the actual possibility, I'm pretty sure it's possible. But then again, will the Raspberry crash? I do not know. We need some testing on this. In regards to protection, what is the excuse to ignoring relays and leaving it to indefinite hold? Why not multi-hops? As I said, yes, multi-hops and traffic slicing is definitely in our heads, and not in just heads. We have tested it with Superproxy. It's actually working, and in effect, it was a multi-hop type of system setup. It's just that building this into the actual decentralized network is on the orders of magnitude more work to do than on testing it in a closed environment. Yep, so for now, it's still mainnet and building incentivization into the network. So that is pretty much it, I believe. somebody says, wow, you're going to add an option for users to go to the dark web. No, we're not going to add an option for this. But given the nature of the network, people can do it on their own. I think it's a pretty interesting concept. I'm really sorry that it's not been head of product in this position. I believe it would have been much more interesting for you guys. Can you tell us something about the team? How many people work on the team? I would not be able to tell you exact number. I think it's around, well, depends on how do you define work. Like we do work with some people who are full-time committed, and we do also work with some people who are partially, as contributing to the project as a freelancers. Roughly, this number is about 15, 20, depending on who you count. So yeah, mostly development team is the biggest chunk of this team, people working with the product. Okay, I'm reading some of the, like, our aim is wrong. We shouldn't be adding more people. We do understand, and we hope that everybody who's running understands the risks. Running a node understands the risks, and yes, there are risks. Therefore, if you feel that you're over risking, do not run the node at this stage. Some jurisdictions do provide fairly risk-free environment to run the node. So yeah, some are more friendly than others. For example, Germany is really the least friendly jurisdiction to run a node in, or as close to it as possible. Can we provide transparency? Most people do not want to be disclosed. We do provide maybe an address for the police. You do know my name. You do know Yaro's name, Sharmini. Some of the more public people on the team are willing to disclose who we are. Others are people contributing, helping development team, and so on. Yes, and we do provide those details on our website. So if you need business details, please take a look at the bottom. All right, guys. I think it's been beneficial. I do hope that as we get closer to the mainnet, we will be able to repeat this if new interesting topics, questions arise. And okay, another on Reddit, I read another interesting question, which I cannot pronounce the username is writing here. Can you tell us something about the team? How many people currently working at Mysterium? As I said, around 20, if you count part-timers. You know some of our names, but some people wish to remain private. We are a network respecting privacy. Will there be a missed liquidity pool or Uniswap? We'll work towards that. Yaro would be much more better suited to answering this. I use my real name. Sorry, Brendan, to see you go. And I understand. Okay, guys, thank you very much for your time, for your questions. It does help us understand where we need to focus most. And I'm pretty sure we have a wild ride ahead of us, making sure this network goes live. It's a very difficult technological task to make sure it all works together, various systems. There's a big strain on our development team. I want to really thank them. Big strain on our communication team. Yes, it is still not the most safest thing to do in the world, to run a node, especially. If you can protect yourselves, there are ways. Please do. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Is there an iOS app? No, there's no iOS app. But there will be a Mac app. iOS app is further down the line because it's so much different than anything else. But Mac OS app is really not far away. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot. Stay safe. Stay safe from all the viruses in this world.